guys, it's Quinn. So I have gotten a lot of requests to do a video about my double belly button piercing, so that is what I'm going to be talking about today. But before I get started, don't forget to subscribe down below if you haven't already. Okay, let's get started. So first of all, I'm just going to show you my piercing. So I have a double navel piercing. I have one on the top and one on the bottom, and this is what it looks like. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you the stories of like how I got them. So the first piercing, the top one, I got when I was 16 years old. I got it for my 16th birthday. I wanted it for years. So I went to a tattoo shop in Vegas, where I'm from. As far as pain goes, it was really easy. I think anyone could do it, especially when I was 16. I had a really low pain tolerance and it was still completely fine. It took like, I don't know, once we were like actually in there, it took maybe like 2 minutes. He just sanitized it, pierced it, put the jewelry in, and I was good to go, and I left. I think the whole thing, including like picking out jewelry, maybe took like 15 minutes total. So yeah, the healing process for that one was pretty easy. I don't really remember anything like crazy that happened. I think the first couple days it did bleed a little bit, which I think is normal. Now for my piercings, I usually use saline solution, and I personally really like using contact solution. One of my piercers recommended that to me one time, and I've never really gone back. That's just what really works well for me and my body. But back then, I don't know why, but like they didn't really say saline solution to me. They just, I guess, recommended washing it with mild soap and water and like Bactine. But the Bactine like irritated my skin, so I didn't use that. So I just used like soap and water. But I don't know if that's still how they do it, or if now they would recommend saline solution. I think I would recommend saline solution for just like any piercing, but that's just me. Yeah, so that one healed pretty fine. I'm pretty sure navel piercings take about 6 months to heal. Okay, now my second belly button piercing, that's kind of a different story. Okay, I actually got my second piercing pierced twice because basically I was just a dumbass the first time I got it pierced. And it's gonna sound so cringy. I know it's terrible. Just, I was young and dumb and stupid. I was like 19 the second time, so it happened 3 years since the first one. I did get them pierced at separate times. So my second piercing I got when I was 19 on a beach when I was in LA for no reason. I just saw a sign and I was like, I want it, and I did it on impulse, and that's just, never get anything pierced at a beach. That's just a bad idea. But it doesn't end there, guys. Not only did I get it pierced on the beach, but I also didn't want to buy like new jewelry. So I had one in my top that was like a corkscrew that could theoretically, if you had a second piercing, go into your second piercing. So instead of buying a new jewelry like I should have, I wanted him to pierce it with the corkscrew piercing. So yeah, it's just basically all the wrong ideas. I could tell when he pierced it that it was not gonna be good, and it wasn't. And it didn't heal properly, it rejected. I tried to keep it in vain for like months, and it just like kept rejecting. So eventually, when I was studying abroad in Costa Rica on another beach, I had to take it out, and I let it close up, and all that stuff. Then, a year later, I got it re-pierced at Diversity, the same place in Vegas. I got it pierced for the second time there, and that time it was perfectly fine. The guy told me what happened. He was like, yeah, the first piercing that you got there was shit, and we're not gonna do it that way this time. We're gonna do it with a new piece of jewelry. We're not gonna do it with a corkscrew, and we're going to take a bigger piece of skin so that it heals correctly. And it did. So my second piercing healed perfectly fine. I don't know if you can tell, but I have this little white scar, like right above where this piercing ends. And that is from the first piercing that I had. But yeah, so the second piercing healed fine. I did use contact solution for the second piercing, and pretty self-explanatory. It took about 6 months to heal, just like the other one, and it was all good. So I do get asked a lot about like how I clean my piercings, and I will say that I basically don't clean them anymore, which sounds gross, but I've had them for so long. I mean, my newest one I've had for like 4 years now, so they're not like, they don't get infected and stuff. So pretty much I just let the body wash run over them in the shower, and that does the job. I do like a thorough cleaning of like all around the areas every time that I change my piercings, which is again not very often. I change them like every couple months, and then I'll like do a thorough cleaning around the area of the piercing, of the new piercings I put in, and of course like the inside of my belly button and all that stuff. But on a day-to-day basis, I just kind of let the shower do the work, and that's it. Like I said before, I did not get mine pierced at the same time. You probably can get them pierced at the same time if you really wanted to, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'm really happy that I didn't. I think that it's just a lot harder to have both areas to maintain. And also, like for me, mine touch. And so if they're touching and moving each other while they're healing, I think that that can be really detrimental to the healing process. So I would recommend getting them pierced separately, and I'd say wait until your first one's completely healed. So I would recommend getting one pierced, waiting a year, and then getting the second one pierced. Okay, so going along with that, when I got my second piercing, my piercer did tell me that apparently you do have to be like a good candidate for having a double piercing. And from what he explained to me, basically what that means is that you have to have a belly button that's big enough that can fit 2 pieces of the jewelry, and you have to have enough skin on both sides to have something to like pierce. So I don't know. I don't think that my belly button is especially big or anything. I think it's just a regular size, but do be aware of that. If you want a double piercing, I say when you go in for your first one, maybe ask the piercer just if you are a good candidate for it, so that you don't like get your hopes up and then not be able to do both. Sorry, it's like in the middle of the afternoon, but there's like mariachis playing outside. I am sorry if you hear some random music going through. I think they're just like marching the streets right now for no reason, I don't know. What is it like having a double piercing? I really love my double piercing. I think it's cool, I think it's cute. No one else that I know has a second one, so I think it kind of makes you unique, and that's kind of cool. I get asked if like I can still wear like the dangly jewelry piercings. The simple answer is yes, you can. The long answer is I don't, though, because this is kind of hard to explain, but if you have the 2 piercings, right, and they're pretty close, and this one on top, if I wear a dangly one, it's gonna cover up this one. So I just don't really wear a dangly one because then this one doesn't show. Now I could take the bottom one out and just wear a dangly one on the top one. And that is definitely an option if you want to do that. Once your piercings are fully healed, that is, because you don't want them to close up. But I just don't because, I don't know, I'm like scared that I'm going to forget to put it back in. And it's going to be like months and maybe it'll close up, I don't know. But I easily could if I want to. So the answer is yes, you can. So go ahead, just make sure that it's healed first. Okay, another thing that I want to talk about is I do want to warn you that just piercings aren't perfect, and when you have 2 so close together, you're gonna notice that they're not perfect. And what I mean by that is it's probably not gonna turn out where they're both perfectly straight. Now, if you look at anyone that has even just a single belly button piercing, odds are that it doesn't go absolutely straight up and down, like even if they just have 1. And that just kind of adds to it when you have 2, and it is maybe a little bit more noticeable when you have 2 because it's a longer line. So as you can see, mine aren't that straight. Now, to be fair, I think that he did pierce them pretty straight, but I think as it was healing, because like, as you can see, like if I'm standing straight up, they sit on top of each other, but the minute I crouch down, one goes to one side and the other one goes to the other side. And that is just normal when you sit and your stomach slouches. However, I think that during the healing process, it did kind of cause mine to heal crooked because obviously I'm not like standing straight up 100% of the time. Most people don't really notice. I mean, you can see it right now, right? Like it doesn't really look that crooked when you just look at it. But I do want to warn you that it probably isn't going to be in a straight line, and it does kind of bother me a little bit sometimes because I'm a little bit like OCD about that, like I want it to be really straight. But so I just want to warn you about that so that you don't freak out. It's pretty normal. Okay, now I want to talk about what kind of jewelry you're going to need for your piercing. Now, as I said before, you have to be a good candidate for this piercing, which means that you need to have a big enough space in your belly button for 2 of the jewelry heads, right? Like the big ones. I think you're supposed to, and I generally put the tiny ball on the outside and the bigger ball on the inside. That being said, it takes up a lot of room, right? And so with regular belly rings, like the bar is really long, and there was not enough room in my belly button to have 2 of the long jewelries. Anyway, I was having a problem where it just looked really weird because they were like too long on both sides, and so they were like both like overlapping, and it just looked really bad. So what you can do is actually, I got my rings that I currently have on Amazon. they're pretty cheap, but you just want to buy one with a shorter barbell, right? So it's still a curved barbell, but you just want to buy one that's shorter, and you can tell by the picture that it's like smaller than the other ones. So I actually found two to show you. So this is a regular sized belly piercing, right? So it's long like this. But this was too long because if I put it in, it would clash with the other piercing. It would be too long and it'd like be down there. So I went online and I got a shorter one, which is this one. And if you can see them side by side, it's probably hard to tell because the difference is slight. But see, this one, the blue one, is shorter than the silver one. It does make a difference, and I think that it's really worth buying these smaller ones because then they don't clash together and it just looks cuter and it's more comfortable to wear. And once again, the mariachis are playing. I don't know what's going on today, but there is some kind of celebration and the mariachis are all about it. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Okay, I don't know. Okay, well, there's mariachi music playing, so I'm just gonna go. I think that's all that I want to talk about today. So if you have any more questions, just comment down below and I will answer them for you. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye!